It is time for the grand final of the Manufacturer Series for the 2019 FIA Certified Gran Turismo Championships. And here then is how the grid lines up.
So Toyota there on pole, Igor Fraga starting again the car here. Let's see what he can do from pole position. Meanwhile, Matt Simmons opting to start the Porsche again for the second time in a row. And then third position is going to be, we haven't got the driver there, I think it's Cody starting the car down in third. Then in fourth we have BMW. Starting their car. We've lost our drivers here, but we can go through that. Audi in fifth position.
Yep.
Then down in sixth. I think you've got that there, Tom.
Yeah, Kato starting behind the wheel of the car. Then for Ford, we've got Adam Wilt behind the wheel of the machine there. Jaguar, they start up in seventh position. Kenny Kanomos behind the wheel, he starts for that team. Then Chevrolet, they've got Aguilar behind the wheel of their machine. Work to do from Aston Martin for ninth position on the grid, and Aston Martin have got Nick McMillan, so keep an eye out for the American driver, former GT Academy champion. Lexus line up in P10. And they've got Baptiste Beauvoir behind the wheel. Hyundai in 11th position. Connor Healy starts for that team. And then Alfa Romeo 12th and last on the grid. It's Danny Solis behind the wheel of that machine.
So then the guys getting ready to start off the grand final here at Tokyo. World Tour 5, haven't they just flown by? Igor Fraga in a very familiar position. Worth noting that himself, Mercedes-Benz and BMW opting for that soft tyre compound, whereas Porsche in second place, who are going to go for the medium tyre, and I think try and cause a bit of bother before we go from there. So the drivers now just winding themselves up. This is the bit in the cockpit where you take a couple of deep breaths, think, right, okay, think of a strategy I've got to do, and let's try and execute it to the best of my ability now. We're coming round now the second to last corner, and after that we'll be on the pit straight to start off here at Lego Maggiore.
The grand final for the Manufacturer Series here for World Tour 5 in Tokyo, about to get underway. Toyota will lead the field over the timing line then, but the grand final at the Lago Maggiore circuit in Italy for the FIA GT Championships is about to get underway. The Manufacturer Series grand final in Tokyo is go. Toyota leads the field over the line. Porsche darting into the slipstream as well as Mercedes-Benz. Will we see any moves being made? Look at Mercedes-Benz trying to challenge Porsche as Porsche tries to go the long way around the outside. And here comes BMW on the inside of Mercedes through T2. Side by side they come. A bit of a wiggle there from BMW, but on the inside they are against Mercedes. Side by side they still run as they come into the left-hander. Mercedes have lost out then, and BMW are up into P3.
Bit of contact there back as well, but it wasn't too bad. Porsche, of course, in that medium compounder tyre, you're already seeing a difference. Toyota putting away a little bit at the front of the field, and then Matt Simmons struggling a little bit in that Porsche, but the longer he can keep those guys behind, the better for their race. Coming down now to a heavy braking zone. This is the absolutely fantastic cambered corner here, going around surface tyre. Mercedes-Benz contact with BMW, and the BMW just about managing to gather that back up again, but I think just a little bit of a mistake there from the Mercedes driver.
Well, there you go. That is Tom Lartiu, who's behind the wheel of the car at the moment, and he's made a bit of an error early doors there. Incident under investigation. No malice involved, of course, but that mistake could potentially cost them both a little bit of time here in these opening stages and just allow a bit of a buffer. And you can see a warning there being given to Mercedes. Right call of action here in these opening stages.
Yeah, no, again, no malice, of course, but you do have to assign blame to someone. It was Mercedes' fault there. However, that has allowed Porsche to kind of have a breath of fresh air for now. However, long left-hander here, and here's where the tyre difference really comes into play. You see Porsche and Matt Simmons just struggling to get out of that corner, and all the while this is allowing Igor Fraga in that Toyota to pull away at the front of the field. Now coming around to a twisty section here, we've just saw it on camera, we'll see it again. Here was Mercedes-Benz just braking a little bit too late. Tom not quite getting the braking right, a little bit of a biff there, didn't quite make the pass on BMW, and I think that for that reason the stewards decided no further action.
Thankfully didn't punt him off into the gravel trap, could have been far worse there, but here are Porsche now having to defend from BMW on the inside. The soft compound of tyres proved to be beneficial as Porsche ran wide through the first corner, the last corner rather I should say, onto the start finish straight over the timing line. Now it is BMW into P2 and Mercedes trying to attack their fellow German manufacturers. Down the start finish straight we go in towards T1. Mercedes on the inside, Tom Lartiu behind the wheel and up into third place. So the medium compound of tyres proving to obviously not be the fastest here in these opening stages, but Porsche losing out quite big time here in these opening stages.
Very confident move there from Tom Lartiu, who just knew the car was going to stick, drove it in hard to the corner, took the inside line, and that was it. Matt Simmons had nothing in reply on that medium compounder tyre. So as you can see on the left hand side of the screen, tyre compound, soft, mediums in the middle and hards at the back, as we expect to see at this stage of the race. And importantly for the soft runners now, they can just try and focus on using that tyre to the best of their ability. This is what you want to do on a soft tyre, try and gain as much time as possible. On board now with Tom Lartiu, Bonjour Storm again, as you can see on your left-hand side, just really looking fairly calm. He chats a lot to his team, I've noticed, Tom. He's always talking. In the background there, Porsche and Audi. Audi coming back up the field now using the slipstream. Both of these cars are MR cars, so enjoy the corners a bit more than the straights. But it seems that Audi is having a good run of things at the moment.
Toshihiro Kato behind the wheel of that car at the moment, on board with Audi. Sorry, as you can see him there through into the right-hander. There is the Porsche. That at the moment is being driven by Matthew Simmons, and here is the move being made here by Audi. They're trying to attack Porsche, run it wide. They get the switch back. Lovely on the inside, bit squirrely under braking through to the left. They run wide, and that allows Porsche to come back through into 4th place.
I thought he had it done there, but I think he's just took a bit too much speed. You see, he nearly lost the car on entry. Just about managed to bring it back a little bit. He might decide now to put his brake.
Further up. Mercedes versus BMW. Sorry, Jimmy, to cut in front of you. Mercedes now into P2 ahead of BMW. So that is very interesting here.
Yeah, we missed that, Tom, very well to spot that on the standings there. But again, Tom really showing his intention in that Mercedes-Benz. Now let's see if he can chase down Igor. That's the big question now. 2.5 seconds between them. Here is the move, and you see just at the last second pulls out, takes the inside line, and well driven by both drivers there to avoid any sort of big contact. And Tom up into 2nd place in the Mercedes.
Caught Nicholas Rublar unawares going into that corner. I think that was a very late lunge for Mercedes-Benz. Now Porsche up into 4th place, but have got Audi all over their gearbox trying to find their way through. Gap's just increased a couple of tenths of a second over the last lap or so as they've been squabbling amongst one another. But now the pressure, as you said, Jimmy, is on Tom Lartiu. Can he close down the gap to the Toyota? Behind the wheel of that Toyota at the moment is Igor Fraga, the man who we know loves a bit of clear air. The thing here for Mercedes is they need to not get involved in the battle with BMW, because if they do, it's going to cost them both time.
It is, and I wonder if they'll both be thinking that. You see in the mirror there on the top right how close the BMW got in the braking zone. I think that car a little bit better under the brakes. And you see Tom very violently turning to the left. He did that to try and break the toe to the BMW behind. He doesn't want to fight. He wanted to try and get as many good times in as possible. Getting a flash of the lights there from the BMW driver. It's like, hey, look at me, don't look at where you're going instead. Sometimes that works, but these guys are pros, so it's very unlikely.
Through into the right-hander, and then the left we go. These S-Benz, they absolutely cane the tyres, and you can see there Tom Lartiu just taking a lot of curb there on the inside through that left-hander.
Wasn't he? Going through there, but still looks like I think that the BMW is actually quicker right now, but Tom really caught him off unaware and took the position now. But in the grand scheme of things, of course, this is going to be good for Toyota, because that gap now up to 3 seconds, Tom.
Very impressive stuff indeed there from all of these drivers now. BMW trying to attack against Mercedes-Benz. It's a role reversal. This is where Mercedes got past the BMW last time around, and now, as you said, it is Nicholas Rublar who's looking calm, cool and collected at the moment. Tom Lartiu a little bit more stressed behind the wheel of that Mercedes as things stand. All the while they're closing up on one another though. Igor Fraga is just increasing that gap. It's 2.8 seconds as things stand, but it's come down by a couple of tenths of a second over the last sector, so I'm contradicting myself there a little bit. But Toyota now beginning to close down that gap, and of course we should expect these soft tyres to be used for about 7 laps or so within this race, and it's going to be exciting to see how the different strategies play out. Meanwhile, BMW caught in that dirty air. There's not a lot they can do through these fast sweeping corners to try and close that gap down and challenge.
Yeah, it's quite difficult for here. Even these Group 3 cars, these GT3 cars, produce quite a bit of downforce from the wings and diffuser you can see there on the back of the car. So going through the fast sector, the fast corners, you can still get a bit of wash, a bit of dirty air from the car in front, which makes it quite hard to get onto the back. That basically makes the car understeer if you were not aware of that. So right now, if the race ended like this, Toyota predictably would be taking the win from Mercedes-Benz and Porsche there in 3rd. Mercedes-Benz, of course, looking for that treble, but they've got to go one better. They've got to win this race realistically.
Yeah, double points, of course, here in this grand final as well, to remind you. So it does make things very interesting indeed. And, of course, those positions really, really do count ever more so. Through the right-hander we go. Look at the closing speed there of the BMW. And look at the dust being kicked up by Mercedes-Benz in the front of his shot. This is where BMW look really strong. Nicholas Rublar behind the wheel of the car is looking very confident here coming into this 3rd sector. And you can see visibly how much closer, how much more speed he wants to try and carry against the Mercedes of Tom Lartiu at the moment.
You know, as much as you would expect from public lobby racing, you can't really drive through people. in this in GT Sport. You take things seriously here. You do that, you get a penalty and get a big old slap on the wrist. So Nico is having to really look for his opportunity. You see him in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. The call of the cucumber, chewing a bit of gum there. You almost expect a toothpick in his mouth as well, don't you? But not quite getting the job done on Tom in front. So these guys, I think, maybe opting just to say, you know what, let's just not fight for now. Let's try and focus on catching the Toyota. The gap is increasing, but only slightly, about a tenth a lap at the moment over the. They are slower than the Toyota, which of course is good for them, because if they can keep in some sort of distance to the car in front, then maybe one of their teammates can come in and do the job for them.
It will be interesting to see what happens. It'll be interesting to see which driver they put in the car in the mid-stages and what tyres they go for as well. Will they split the strategy with Toyota and Mercedes-Benz, or will they opt to do the same? Coque Lopez, of course, and Randall Hayward ready to drive that car. I can see Ford getting ready for a driver change as well. Ford currently sitting in P6 on the medium compound of tyres. Behind the wheel of that car at the moment is Armin Aga Khan, and it looks like Adam Tapai is ready to take over behind the wheel of the American machine. But a dust being kicked up there for Nicolas Rubelar as well, so certainly pushing still very hard at the moment.
Using all the road and a bit more there, so don't want to be in the grass too often, because that will snag the car and you end up spinning. Here is Porsche. They started in second position, of course, but they have been on the medium compound tyre, and they are being harried by Audi right now. So something to take into account as we come through into the middle sector. Can Audi get a move done here? Not really the place to overtake. No, see Kato having a look at him there, and two very different driving styles. Kato very much resting the wheel, and the Matt at the top seems to be a little bit more calm. I say that now he's fighting. You know what? I'm just not going to say anything. I'll be wrong. But at the end of this lap, what we'll likely see, I think, we'll probably see the medium and the hard runners come in. I think we'll see if they want to stretch the medium another lap or not.
Could be interesting to find out, of course, a minimum of 5 consecutive laps they've got to do within this race on those tyres there. You can see Audi just trying to break away from Porsche. We can see from our commentary position that Porsche are ready to change over drivers. That is P4 at the moment. That will be Tristan Bayliss going behind the wheel of the car. Now Audi going to follow suit. I can't see a driver ready to change unless it's a very last-minute decision from that team. Tatsuhiro Kato behind the wheel of that car at the moment, and who will get behind the wheel of it? Look at Ford, though. They're trying to attack and send it down the inside, I think, of trying to go through on Audi, but they weren't quite close enough to launch a bit of a challenge through there. But into the pits come Porsche, and also Ford following them as well. A
bad choice I think for Audi. I think you really want to try and get off these tyres as quick as you can, and make that soft tyre last. It is worth it, I think, even if it's harder to drive. You'll still have a bit of a quicker lap. So then Porsche then opting to go on to the hard compound of tyre. Ford actually going onto the soft compound tyre, so that's a good move for Porsche. They're going to be ahead of Ford there, who is going to have a quicker car, but it's going to be hard to get round them. But you'll see the difference between these tyres here. Hard versus soft, it's almost it's a foregone conclusion.
We saw this last time from Audi. If you hark back to World Tour 4 in Salzburg, we saw Audi taking victory in the first race. Their strategy, though, in the second race was very unusual, I think it's fair to say the least. So they really were compromised in the grand final, and it seems like they kind of, as Jimmy said, shooting themselves in the foot here, staying out on the medium compound of tyres. Lexus also following the same principle at the moment in P5 on that medium. So be interesting to see how it all plays out between these guys. Meanwhile, Ford are on the soft compound of tyres. Porsche here in P6 are on the harder compound, so they're going to be sitting ducks once the Ford gets the tyres up to temperature here.
They will be, and this is where the difference is going to be made for this middle sector. Very fast series of corners through here, very fun to drive. But if you're on the slower compound tyre, you'll notice a difference. So look for Ford and look at that gap. It's shrinking corner by corner now as those soft compound tyres come up for temperature. There's Michelin soft tyres, and Porsche, not really much they can do apart from just sit on the line and hope for the best here. Ford now right up to the back of the rear spoiler of the German manufacturer in front, coming now down for this long left-hand that goes on forever. Well, you think it does anyway. And the Porsche, they're taking a very late apex and trying to get the good run off the corner, but even so, Ford gaining.
Yeah, it goes on forever when you've got no grip underneath you, and those hard compound of tyres not providing much there for Tristan Bayliss as things stand. There he is, sitting behind the wheel of the machine at the moment is the American driver. A little bit of curb on the inside there, so pushing very hard, trying to make as much time as he possibly can to try and keep that Ford at bay. Meanwhile, Lexus and Audi do come into the pits, and those two have exchanged positions actually for P4 and P5 here on this last lap. So Audi really struggling on that medium compound of tyres, but a difference in strategy going on here. Hard tyres for the Audi, soft for the Lexus.
Yeah, I'm still surprised that Audi have come in this late. I think that's been a damaging move for them, but we'll see. I've been wrong before, I'll be wrong again. Meanwhile, Ford and Porsche, just in the background in your picture, Ford getting the move done on Porsche then. Up into P4 they go, using the soft tyres. Here's a replay here. They were a bit far back. I think, yeah, Audi there. Mistake coming out of the right-hander, and Lexus go up into fourth as well. So, yeah, it's been an interesting couple of laps there for Audi, and just think, I think the tyre change came a bit too late as well. Losing time and making the mistake, horrible stint for them.
Well, it's Hayden Hunter who's now behind the wheel of the Audi on the hard tyres. They're going to have their qualifying driver Martin Grady on the soft compound at the end of that one. It might be their saving grace. It might be a bit too little, too late as well. We'll see how it all plays out. It depends on what happens in front of these guys. Meanwhile, the gap shrinking between Toyota and Mercedes-Benz. 2.5 seconds it now sits at. Here is Toyota, of course. They have not pitted yet, so still behind the wheel of that machine at the moment is Igor Fraga. And they're going to change over to Rayan Darush in the next phase of this race. But what tyres are they going to change over? And are Mercedes going to follow them through? Or are they going to opt to do something bold and try and have a difference in pace at the end of the race, or are they going to try something different to try and close that gap down to Toyota?
We will see, definitely. I think we'll probably see maybe one more lap out of these tyres, if my maths is correct. It rarely is. We'll see when it comes to the start-finish line. I say that, Rayan Darush is getting up right now to swap into the car. So guess what? Jimmy was incorrect again. But let's see. Yep, Fraga peels off to the right. That's his job done for today. The gap was only 2 seconds when he came in, though. He lost a second on the way in. Mercedes coming in as well, as our Toyota. Mercedes going for the hard compounder tyre. Interesting choice there. And BMW going for the medium. So it looks like Mercedes is going to drop off on this stint, but then maybe come back strong at the end.
I thought Mercedes would have to try something different in the mid-stages of this race. It could come back to bite them in the backside. It could prove to be an inspired decision. We'll all see how it all plays out. They've all made their first pit stops now, have all the teams, the 12 teams competing in this race. Lexus and Porsche are going side by side and squabbling for 5th position at the moment as Audi drop down into P7. There's a warning being given there for Lexus. I think that was because of an incident that was under investigation between themselves and Porsche. We didn't see what happened on screen at that time. However, Lexus clearly deemed to be at fault for that.
Yep, again the penalty there, and well, that's that. Don't do bad things.
Don't do things that make you look bad, as the saying goes.
Don't you start that. I will mute you. We'll get rid of that. Anyway, BMW and Mercedes. BMW now with the tyre advantage, so it should be again a matter of when, not if. And there's Ant Felix there in the top left-hand corner of your screen. Coco Lopez and the BMW in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. And they're running side by side coming up to this very fast section. BMW has the drive. They are by. That is perfect for Coco Lopez. That's what he needed to do. Get by, use that medium compounder tyre and see if he can chase down Rayan Darush now at the front of the field. The
best thing Ant Felix can do here is try and keep with the BMW as long as possible. Try and force him to just go through. He'll have the advantage, of course, a bit of a more straight line speed to try and increase that gap back to Ford and Lexus in P4 and P5 there currently. But he's going to have a hard task, hard versus medium compound of tyres. There's a good difference in pace there. You can see as the live points ranking on the right-hand side of your screen, if it stays as it is, it'll be Toyota that are crowned the Manufacturer Series champions here in Tokyo. But there's still plenty of time for things to play out. Still 10 laps remaining, lots of pit stops, lots of fuel to take on board, and of course that last driver change as well. So don't count your chickens just yet.
Yeah, don't be doing that, because we've seen mistakes before, and we've seen them made in these situations as well. So here's Coco Lopez, driver has been on the rise very recently. There is a gap you can see in front of you. That is Toyota on your screen, so that is what 3.2 seconds looks like if you are Coco Lopez. So let's see about lap times. Let's see if the BMW can start reeling in the Toyota in front. Mercedes-Benz, meanwhile, predictably falling off the back a little bit, a second now between them and BMW. But what they want to try and do really is stay ahead of Ford and not get into a fight with them. The difficulty this time round, of course, is we did see in the last round that people using the hard compounder tyre, but only usually for a lap and then getting off it as soon as they could. There has been a new rule in force saying that in this race, every compound must be used for at least 5 laps. So 5 laps on that hard tyre. It's going to be a big ask for Ant Felix to try and stay ahead of Ford.
Well, time will tell how it all plays out. Here is BMW. Meanwhile, you can just see up in the distance is the Toyota. Behind the wheel of that Toyota at the moment is Rayan Darush, the Frenchman. Spoke to him back in Salzburg last time out about his thoughts and feelings. He said he races to win. That is all he's out there for, as are all of these drivers. But Rayan, he said, even if it's a podium, even if it's P2, P3, I'm not happy unless I'm standing on that top step. So let's see whether Toyota can do that, and Ryan DeRouche can stand on that top step. What about these guys here? BMW, Coque Lopez behind the wheel of that car at the moment, sitting pretty good here in P2. Can they close that gap down to Toyota? Can they leapfrog Mercedes here in the closing stages and maybe get themselves ahead when everybody's made their final pit stops in this race?
We'll have to wait and see. This is the thing with these manufacturer races, is they kind of get a bit quiet in the middle, and then the strategies will come together at the end, and we get all our action come in the last few laps, because that's what our scriptwriter asks for. He's a good boy, isn't he?
I tell you what, though, I'm really a bit disappointed with Audi here in P7 at the moment. I was expecting more from them over the course of this one. As you said, Jimmy, that really sort of left field strategy call. We saw this last time out in Salzburg. It cost them dear, and it could cost them dear here as well. They clearly don't have the pace to be running with the front runners at the moment, but
bear in mind as well, they have used medium and the hard tyres so far. Everyone else has used the soft tyre at some point, so they're going to be pretty quick at the moment, and Audi still have that yet to come, and that'll be in a couple of laps' time. So they might be able to improve somewhat. Right now they are running 3 seconds behind the top 6, which is Porsche in 6th right now, who they've come down a lot. They started in 2nd place, remember that, and now they're down in 6th position, so they've got a lot to do. Still got the softs to come, though. They
have, yeah. That is the one saving grace there for Porsche in P6 at the moment. They are 6 seconds back, though, of Lexus, who will be changing over to the hard compound of tyres, I believe, at the end, then, of this race. Here is Ant Felix, the American driver, behind the wheel. Had a mixed season of fortunes here in the Manufacturer Series. If you remember back to the first 2 events, he was suffering from illness in both Paris and then in Nürburgring. Thankfully turned his fortunes around, of course, with Mercedes-Benz. The last 2 rounds in the Manufacturer Series has won, of course, in New York. One last time out in Salzburg, part of the winning outfit there. So it's going to be very exciting to see how it all plays out for this team. Now, from our commentary position, we can see drivers getting ready to change over, and I can see that Porsche are looking ready for a driver change, and behind the wheel, I'm just going to see who that will be. It, in fact, will be Toyota, and it'll be Yamanaka, I believe, going behind the wheel of that car, but we'll keep an eye out and see how it all plays out. He will be the last driver behind the wheel of that machine. Here is Adam Tapai then, the Hungarian driver. Ford sitting there in 4th. It's been a relatively quiet race there for them so far, but they've just slowly been closing up on the back of the Mercedes over the last few laps.
Yeah, I mean, that soft compounder tyre there is just eating up the gap that Ant had in the Mercedes. Luckily for Ant, you only have to do a few laps on that hard compounder tyre before getting off it, but I'm interested to see that they kept Ant on that compounder tyre. You would have thought maybe he would have been better suited for a medium compounder tyre, given that it has to now last longer. But you were seeing look at the difference here in cornering speed. The Ford able to get much closer to the Mercedes, and just like that, we're on the rear wing.
Exactly right. Yeah, he's really closing up now. Is Adam Tapai, the Hungarian. Just look at the traction going through out of that final corner. Just a sitting duck is Mercedes and Anthony Felix here, and this could be again a very unusual strategy. I was commenting on Audi's strategy just a few moments ago, and it's a very similar sort of thing here for Mercedes, but they of course have got a lot more to lose, but anything could change. Porsche into the pits. They go from the hard over to the soft for the final time then for their last stint. Here come Ford, though. They're going to send it down the inside of Mercedes. Nothing that Anthony Felix can do, and the Hungarian of Adam Tapai is through into the podium positions.
So all the guys coming in now onto the soft compounder tyre for a fast finish, and it's going to be fun to see them come back through the field, I think. And so Ford 3rd, we have Mercedes-Benz 4th, and they are now going to be under threat from Lexus, another team on that softer compounder tyre. You can see also next to the tyres in the top left-hand corner of your screen, the P column. That is how many stops have been made, and mistake there from Ant Felix, which pretty much gifts the 4th position to the Lexus, who are going to drive alongside now, nice and easy, and through they go. Lexus up into P4, Carazza at the wheel at the moment.
Great stuff there from Adriano Carazza, the Brazilian driver, through into 4th place then. Now Anthony Felix, that mistake has cost him dear. We saw that in his middle stint, of course, that he made in Mount Panorama in race 1 a few minutes ago, and he makes another mistake here which has cost him a bit of time, cost him that position, as you said there, Jimmy, as well. A few drivers out of positions now, having not made their pit stop. Chevrolet down in 8th place, having got 1 pit stop remaining here in this race. Mercedes and Audi also ready to pit very shortly as well. I can see from our commentary position that Audi are getting ready to change over to Martin Grady, who will be on the soft tyres at the end of this one, as will Mercedes-Benz. Here's the live points rankings then on the right-hand side of your screen, and at the moment it would be Toyota in 1st, BMW in 2nd, Ford in 3rd, and Mercedes down in 4th, so they're really going to have to pull their finger out.
They are, and again, of course, Audi losing out on that extra lap on the soft tyres because of our strategy earlier on, so losing even more time now. We'll have to see what Martin can do. He loves that car. He's been trying to get it onto the podium and more at his events for quite some time now, and I think now it's going to be a big ask for him. Meanwhile, on board with Coque Lopez, the gap has come down to Toyota, if not only slightly, but about a tenth or two since the stint started. But Coque Lopez, a safe pair of hands, this BMW. Of course, Randall Hayward will be finishing off the BMW with the hard compounder tyre. So it'll be Hayward versus Yamanaka. So that'll be interesting at the end.
Yeah, that's to say the least, isn't it? There is Chevrolet also into the pits, onto the soft competitive tyres. Audi come out, then they emerge in P7. Chevrolet are going to emerge a bit further down the order. Of course, they were out of position, down in 12th place. It's been a kind of a manufacturer series to forget here so far. We've hardly mentioned them over the course of the last two races, and well, they're down in 12th place, 2.3 seconds off the back of Hyundai, who have also been struggling here in this weekend. So yeah, work for them to do going into Monaco as well. Now here at Audi with Alfa Romeo all over their backside. Of course, both drivers on the soft competitive tyres. The good news is for Martin Grady, his will be a couple of laps fresher towards the end.
Yeah, good for him, of course, but he's still got the work to do. And this every lap you're on the hard compounder tyre, losing 2 seconds to those on the softs, or a second and a bit, to those on the mediums. But right now, I think that Audi should get back to form. They've got 6 seconds to Porsche in front. Mercedes-Benz are going to be the car that is going to be struggling until they go on to the next set of tyres at the moment. And everyone needs to complete 2 stops. So our top 5 teams still need to come in for their last pit stop. So anything to play for here.
Yep, through into the left-hander, then into the right, then for Audi as they drop down the hill. And when are Mercedes going to pounce? That is the crucial question. From our commentary position, I can't see the drivers getting ready at the moment as things stand. But
Cody's up there right now.
Cody is up there. You're completely right. I just couldn't see it from where we're standing there, Jimmy. So Cody then going to change over and be on the soft competitive tyres in the closing stages of this one. It's kind of a bit of a moot point because everybody else behind him is on the soft competitive tyres, and 2 drivers in front of them at the moment are on it as well. There is Shogo Yoshida, who we're just looking at with Alfa Romeo. Into the pit lane then come Mercedes-Benz, soft compound boots on them as well, and they'll come out of the pit lane there now. They've only got 36 litres of fuel on board. And over to the medium competitive tyres here for Mercedes, I apologise. So, of course, they start on the soft compound, over to the mediums, then for the closing stages of this race. But with 2 drivers in front on the soft compound here, Jimmy, I don't know if that's going to work very well. That
and a charging Porsche behind on the soft compounder tyre. So right now, Mercedes is the meat of a soft tyre sandwich at the moment, which doesn't actually sound very tasty, actually, now that I say it out loud. But Cody in the car, of course, we know he has vast experience in the Mercedes. It's looking very, very unlikely right now that we'll see Mercedes go for the treble here, but we still have a few laps left. We've seen very strange things happen in this competition before. We might see it again, but it's going to be a big ask now for Mercedes to improve on 5th.
I think it's very hard to understate just what a great job Tomoki Yamanaka is doing behind the wheel of that Toyota at the moment as well, steadily increasing that gap to Randall Hayward in the BMW in P2 at the moment. So fantastic to see him doing so well. There is Porsche in P6. And you can see riding on board there with him, just through the left-hander and then the right, and Mercedes-Benz, they're just not quite quick enough to hold off the charge. And Cody Nikolakowski, well, he's a very experienced, very talented driver. However, there's not going to be a lot he's going to be able to do, I don't think, about the soft compound tyre shod Porsche.
We'll see what happens here. Good run out of the corner there from the Porsche. Goes to the inside. I think dummies Cody. Cody goes to defend there. He's going to be holding the inside line. Comes back across, really squeezes Porsche. That's a great example of defending there, giving him no room whatsoever. He does not want to give this up. Meanwhile, top left hand, so Yamanaka gets in the car now for Toyota. There he is, and he's got they're all going for the hard compounder tyre, so it's a straight race now. Hayward gets into the BMW, and Ford up there as well. I didn't see them. Oh, sorry, they're pitting in. Hang on, I thought Ford were a bit higher than they should be. No, Ford are 3rd. When did that happen?
They've been just slowly chipping that gap down. They've done a really good middle stint there from Ford, actually, has helped them close that gap down, and very impressive stuff there from the American manufacturer. So now the top 4 drivers are on the hard competitive tyres, and that's the saving grace here for Cody Nikolakowski. Apologies, by the way, to the Toyota team. I said that Tomoki Yamanaka was behind the wheel of the car a couple of laps ago. Of course, it was Randa Roush who was behind the wheel of that machine, and now it is Tomoki Yamanaka who pilots the machine, and And this is the battle that is going on for 4th, 5th and 6th place. Lexus on the hard compound of tyres, of course, Mercedes-Benz on the medium, Porsche on the soft. So 3 different compounds of tyres and 3 different manufacturers battling for one another. Toyota on the outside, Mercedes trying to defend on the inside. Trying to get the switch back here is the Porsche. Side by side, they're going to come on the straight. The slipstream is going to be coming into massive effect here. Cody goes to the outside. On the inside as they go 3 wide down this straight. There's a bit of bumping and barging. Porsche on the inside, Lexus in the middle, Mercedes on the outside. Down the inside we go, and Mercedes hold the line. Lexus run off circuit and onto the gravel and into the wall. Mercedes into 4th, Porsche into 5th, and Lexus spinning round. It's gone wrong for Lexus here in the closing stages of the race, and that is a huge shame for that team. The reigning manufacturers champions go tumbling down the order.
I think what happened there is that Lukowski was on the left-hand, so the right-hand side of the circuit, and didn't know that Lexus was still there. He cut across to take the line, and I think that he swiped the Lexus, which just smashed him off the course. And well, we'll see. We'll probably get a replay soon. Porsche up the inside, taking advantage there. Bit of a rough pass, I think, but there goes Porsche up into 4th position, and Cody, as quick as he gained it, back down to 5th again.
Very impressive stuff indeed there from those guys side by side. They still come though almost as Cody just tries to hold on to the back of this Porsche. The good thing here he could do is try and hold that gap and follow them through here as things stand, and just try not to let that gap get too far out in front, because of course they're just in front of them. They've got the Ford in P3 at the moment, who are 4.3 seconds back of BMW. So this could be a great little battle for the final spot on the podium, and could also be crucial given the fact it's double points here in the grand final for their finishing position in the standings.
I think Porsche have a chance of coming second in this race if they have a great last couple of laps. Bear in mind how much quicker the soft tyre is over the hard compound of tyre, and you're seeing in there, look how quick Porsche is pulling away. There are live points rankings there on the right hand side of your screen, and Toyota right now, well, looking to win it, but it's now a fight between BMW, Porsche and Ford as to who gets onto the podium. And Mercedes-Benz not quite able to keep up now on this medium compound of tyre as hard as Cody tries. But look at the Porsche absolutely shooting up to the back of the Ford in front.
That is great driving there from Inestrosa, the Argentinian behind the wheel of that machine at the moment, and really closing up onto the back there of Ford. As you can see, the difference in tyre compounds, hard compound tyres there for Ford. It's a bit of a sitting duck at this stage. Look at the closing speed through those S-bends, through these S-bends. Look at the Porsche now, really all over the rear wing. Oh, bit of contact between them through the right-hander. Porsche just have to back out of it momentarily. Fortunately, Ford don't suffer too much drama there, but he's going to have to wait another day as Inestrosa tries to get the long way around the outside through there, tries to set something up for that switchback on the inside, but he's not close enough. He gets good closing speed though through the second phase of it. They draw alongside. Porsche on the inside, Ford on the outside, side by side they come down in towards the left-hander, which follows on the inside for Porsche and through into 3rd place. That is great driving from Inestrosa. He's through. Armin Agakan is defenceless, and now he's going to have to try and defend from Cody Nikolakowski in a fast-charging medium tyre Mercedes in P4.
Get out, Tom. And the Ford there was set up nicely. That was a nice setup there from Porsche, and now let's see just what pace that Porsche has. There is 4.3 seconds between them and BMW. You can just about see the BMW in the distance there, but more importantly, BMW on the hard compounder tyre with Randall Hayward at the wheel, and a fast charging Porsche behind him. So here's Mercedes now and Ford. The Ford on the hard compounder tyre. Not much they can really do but try and stay on the racing line, and then again Cody trying to set him up nice and early, gets a better exit alongside. There goes Cody up into 4th position. Not much Ford can do there on the hard compounder tyre, and Mercedes move up into 4th.
Great job there from Cody Nikolakowski. Don't think they're going to have an answer though for Porsche, so 4th is surely going to be the best that Cody can hope for, and indeed Team Mercedes-Benz can hope for. What about Ford though? I think they're just going to fall back slowly but surely. Great race it's been though from BMW. Randall Hayward behind the wheel of that car and has been steadily closing that gap down. It's now down to 1.7 seconds to Toyota, so this race for the final position here might not be over. It's just slowly been shrinking down, and it's shrinking down to Porsche as well for BMW, because of course 2nd and 3rd is to play for here. Of course, hard tyres on the BMW, soft compound of tyres for the Porsche. There's only a couple of laps left though here in this race, so it's going to have to be the laps of the Porsche driver's life of Inestrosa. But Randall Hayward, we know how talented he can be, and he's still not very far away from the Toyota. So it ain't over just yet.
Tell you what, Inestrosa right now is driving the wheels off of that Porsche. The gap is coming down corner by corner now. Only 4 seconds or so between him and now the leader. And you can see our top 3 now in the same shot. And bear in mind, both first and second position are struggling on tyres. Yamanaka really struggling on that hard compound as Randall Haywood takes yet more time out of the Japanese driver. The gap now 1.3 seconds to the front. This is going to go down to the wire. Here we go then, coming in to the penultimate lap just about now, and you see how much Yamanaka is struggling. Randall Haywood by comparison nice and calm down the bottom, but behind him you can see in the mirror Porsche now only 2 seconds behind this fight.
This is absolutely mega. Just to compare lap times, Toyota last time around 158.7, BMW 158.1, Porsche 155.7. That is a huge difference in time between these drivers, and the gap is closing between these top 3.
And importantly, if he does that time again, he will be there. He will be at the front of the fields. Now this is Porsche's to win. If they can get this done, they will go away as the champions here. This is for the entire event. They came second in the first race. If they can get ahead of Toyota, they will come away the winners. So this now has come alive, as it always does in the Manufacturers Series, as we come to the end. 2 hard runners and 1 soft runner there. And again, the gap now down to only a second between Porsche and BMW. 1.7 seconds between Porsche and the leaders, Toyota.
This is absolutely mega between these top 3 drivers at the moment. Great racing, great stuff from Inestrosa as he holds on to P3 at the moment, but he's closing that gap down now to half a second to BMW in second place. But you can see just in the distance there, Yamanaka is really struggling on that hard compound of tyres. Looking there at Inestrosa, looking at Haywood, looking at the closing speed as Porsche right onto the back now of BMW, and surely he's going to think about a move, but they're going into a right-hander. He's got the outside line there, has Porsche. He's going to try and get the switchback, but a great bit of defensive driving there from Randall Haywood. Just blocks the line momentarily. But look at the traction, look at the drive for the Porsche. On the inside they go, side by side they come down the straight into the left-hander. Surely on the brakes is where we're going to see the Porsche launch a move, but defending is Randall Haywood. He runs wide though, he misses the apex, and Inestrosa pulls alongside of the Porsche. Side by side they come through the right-hander, and through goes Porsche into P2 the long way round the outside. This is absolutely incredible.
And now Yamanaka has to try and defend for his life. It's only 1 lap to go here at the Grand Final of the Manufacturers Series in Tokyo, and half a second separates first and second place at the moment, and this is for the win of the entire series here. So Toyota on the hard compounded tyre really struggling. Look at the speed of the Porsche through T1, right on the back of the Toyota now, coming through the first sector. Can Inestrosa get something done here on Yamanaka? Yamanaka sitting on the racing line. Randall Haywood is still there, and Porsche goes up the inside. The leaders changed. There goes Porsche up into the lead, and right now they will take the victory here in the Manufacturers Series, and behind them Randall Haywood goes up into second place, and Toyota go from first to third in only half a lap.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Porsche go through into the lead on the last lap. BMW through into P2. They have to try and defend now from Toyota. Yamanaka's going to try for the outside line. He's going to try and switch back. Is he going to have the grip though on the hard compound of tyres? In the slipstream we go then on the last lap here. Surely this is Porsche's race that is won, and this will be crucial in terms of the results for the final rear. Down into the left-hander we go, on board with Toyota. Yamanaka defenceless at the moment, can't quite find his way past Randall Haywood. It is all to play for here. It is getting hugely exciting. The top 3 drivers running nose to tail.
This is going to be it now. It's the last few corners before the end of this race. Just about caught my breath from the start of a lap. Porsche seemingly have this in the bag. All Inestrosa has to do now is drive the car to the end. But look in the background now. This is rapidly becoming a race for second, third and fourth and fifth. There are the life points there, Tom.
Toyota need to finish in second to try and keep their hopes alive here. They need to finish ahead of BMW, but are they going to be able to do it? And look at Mercedes-Benz, look at Audi in the background. They're ready, they're lurking. Through the right-hander we go, just a few more corners from home here. BMW holding on to P2, Toyota defending from Mercedes-Benz, but through into the final series of corners we go. Mercedes up the inside, Toyota can't find a way through. Into the last corner we go, and over the line. Toyota finishing third. Porsche win the grand final of the Manufacturer Series here in Tokyo. BMW in second, Toyota in third, Audi in fourth, and Mercedes-Benz come over the line in fifth place.
I saw those two there in the bottom right-hand corner, Bayliss and Simmons, grinning like idiots and just waiting for the car to cross the line. What an upset there for Toyota. Yamanaka gave it his all, as did Randall Haywood, but there was no stopping in Astroza there in the Porsche on the soft compounder tyre. An overtake for the lead and the win of the series on the last lap. That is why the Manufacturer Series is one of the best in esports. No question about it.